Well now, looks like I'll be participating in Inktober this year. Thanks for joining me. This video covers October 1st through the 4th.
Excuse me, I think I had a little evil caught in my throat. Alright, so the big, most important rule of Inktober is that you do an ink drawing every day in October. And I've got some rules of my own. And I'll be dipping into this pile of sketchbooks for help this month. For my first trick, I'm going to redo this spooky fella right here. And now here's my rules. I already mentioned that one. Now, I know in years past there was a little bit of drama about this, and the official Inktober website seems to encourage working traditionally. I don't have the space at home to set up an art studio, so I'm using an iPad instead of paper, and an Apple Pencil, instead of a brush or a pen with real ink. And frankly, I think I paid my dues, so I don't care. And working digitally is fine. I also don't care about any of the prompt lists that are out there. I'm going with a Halloween theme this year. Season's greetings, by the way. And next, redoing old work is allowed. I seem to have a lot going on these days, so I'm kind of doing this for speed, and maybe to put a little professional polish on some of those forgotten old sketches. That doesn't mean that I won't do anything new. For example, in this video, there's 2 drawings from old sketchbooks and 2 new ones. I'll be designing each page, or screen in this case, so my daily drawings flow together as one piece. Because of the seemingly infinite possibilities in digital art, I'll be sure to ink all these drawings with the same brush. And I want to color them, but I'm going to limit the colors to only white, black, orange, and green. And the last most important rule is to have fun. The reason I made these rules for myself and set some parameters with limitations is because I have an ulterior motive. I'm hoping that I might be able to have something portfolio worthy at the end of Inktober. If not, I'm not going to stress about it, but at very least I want this to look like a cohesive body of work. I'm using Procreate and inking with a brush called the Rusty Nib. For years and years of doing illustration, I practiced hard to hone my skills inking with a brush to get lush, smooth lines as close to perfection as I possibly could. A couple decades later, and I'm bored with that. It got too sterile. I like the imperfect, random crustiness this brush has. There was a time when I was doing a bunch of work as a comic book colorist, and when I first started, it wasn't a brand new thing, but I think coloring comics digitally was still relatively in its infancy. Maybe I was a teenager at that point. And the printing process had advanced to be able to handle way more colors than it had before. I think this made colorists go bananas, and I hate to admit it, but I did too. Now looking back, that stuff just looks like 10 clowns juggling in front of a Jackson Pollock painting. So this is why I prefer a limited color palette. It makes the art more clear, harmonious, and here's that word again, cohesive. I'm also a guy who gravitates towards illustration and design aesthetics from 50 years ago, and more. A lot of that was dictated by the printing processes back then, but I don't think having limitations is a constraint. I think having limitations can actually open you up to making more creative choices that result in a cooler piece of art than you might have had with more options. It's like back in my old days playing in punk bands, especially in the 80s. Me and my friends sucked. We may have only known 3 chords and the first 2 notes in a scale, but that was okay. It just meant that we had to be more creative to turn our limited skills into something beautiful. And I get it. Hardcore isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it sure is beautiful to me. Wait, did I just make up lyrics to a new song? I gotta write that down. Anyway, this page is done. And speaking about limitations, I'm on limited time today, so I gotta go. Hey, I want to thank you for watching. If you're interested in becoming a patron, there's a link down there to the right, and I've got a bunch of Patreon exclusive stuff over there. I'd appreciate it, and it'll help me make more stuff more often. And I'm a better contributor to the world as an artist. I suck at everything else. I don't know what to do. I'm terrible at delivering food, and I don't know if I can handle living in my car.